Hey there, everyone. Alrighty, so to answer some questions about putting up these walls and what we make the haunt out of. So I shall show in depth, actually, this time, what we use for our walls. And just like a majority of people, we did start out with just a few decorations in the yards, and then once we decided to go to the garage, I think we put some like cup hanging hooks and just hung tarps from the ceiling, and then we moved on to like PVC with the black plastic, so things like that. Back in 2017, I believe it was, there was a haunted house at our state capitol that I guess hasn't been in business for a while, and they decided, you know what, we're moving out and we're going to sell everything. So that's where the first 20 panels came from. They were already made, so we just built off of what they were doing. And so the way that we attach ours is with these metal banding strips, which we were smart and got a ton of them from them and just used what they had already been using. And over the years, we've got a lot more panels, so we needed a whole lot more of these. So then we just purchased a box of it ourselves and then cut them. And this is what it is. Simpson Strong Tie is the brand that we use because they are pre-drilled with the holes. And they're really easy to cut as long as you have one of these. Yeah, I just found out this bugger got rusted. What the heck? Unfortunately, only the ends are pre-rounded like this, so they're going to be sharp. Always be aware of that. They're going to be sharp when you cut them with the snips. Cool thing is you can cut them to any length you desire. If you just need 2 holes to use 2 screws, that's fine. Sometimes we have corners or weird angles that require a different size, so that's why sometimes we have some 3s, and we use them at the top and the middle and the bottom. And then for protection of guests and mostly actors, because most of these are only on the outside of the haunt, we put the black duct tape over it. I did like how we saw a lot of the other haunts using a strip across here. I would like to try that, but I'm not sure how good it will do with our older wood because sometimes it will split. And then for the tops, we use wood bracing. Lots of different sizes. We always shop in the 70 to 80% off section of scrap wood over at the home stores. But as you can see, there's hardly any moving on these. And the reason why we're always pushing on them and ramming on them is every once in a while, like that, you'll find one that you forgot to attach at the top, dummy. And then we use those wood supports up there to also help out with the covering of the rooms, because we're in not the center of the city, but pretty close, and Halloween time, it's usually cloudy up there and it picks up all the light from all the casinos and stuff downtown, and it's just too bright in here. So this diffuses it quite a bit. We have some very dark ones, like those you see there that almost no light gets through, and then some lighter ones that we don't mind if some light gets through, we just don't want the direct glow of the city. For the panels themselves, it's not 3/4, it's that other measurement. It's 5 somethings, and then we use 2x2s. And they're supposed to be supported on all 4 sides, but some of them, either something happened to the top one or whatever, and we've had to replace it. Or we just get lazy and put the panels up before we put the support on it. Try not to do that though, as much as possible. And then for corners and weird shapes, we also have lots of these 2 or 3 hold corner pieces. I don't know exactly what they're called, but they are fantastic for corners and other weird sizes and shapes. And the wood itself is not treated other than what it is when you purchase it. However, we try and paint every bit of it just so that it will have some protection from the weather. And if things like this happen where clearly it's like ripping, obviously I'm going to rip that off because this is dangerous, and then I just paint over it again to protect what is remaining. Which is why I've always got this magenta color, this white color, although this is off-white from our house color, and then black as well, just to do some touch-ups, because now that's pretty nasty. This is a type of haunt that we do need to take down, store, and re-put up every single year. So we try and get as much life out of it as we possibly can. Because all of this stuff is pretty expensive. I don't want to replace any of it. However, things do happen, and maybe it was too cracked or it was just really damaged and it got replaced. So then we, as I said, just repaint it to match what is existing on there. And each one of these supports is numbered with the exact same number as the panel that it goes to. There's another example of type of damage. Sometimes they just crack and, you know, chunks fall off or whatever. This one doesn't have good support in the middle, so this one will definitely be replaced next year. And when we store them, I do take every bit of these supports off of them. We used to store them the other way, where everything is just left as is, which is convenient for getting out and starting to build immediately. However, if you're familiar with how these behave, so this was on the bottom and the panel was on the top. So it was like frame and then the flat. However, depending on how much weight is on it, sometimes they start to bow, and some of these were so bad. So that's when I decided I'm going to take these apart and store them, and hopefully the weight of the amount of these on top of each other will just flatten them all. And it actually does. In addition, I don't have the best back anymore, and I cannot be lifting these heavy things up over my head. No. And sometimes when supports get replaced, like this one, this actually used to be on one of the panels, but being a 2x4, it is really heavy. So I was tired of the immense weight of the 2x4s all the way around it. So I took them off and replaced it with 2x2s, which is actually this piece right here that has a really heavy door on it. So as is, it was already, I don't know, I feel like a weakling saying it, but maybe it was like, you know, 80 pounds. I don't know. But they also the whole panel was black when we got it, and then this had like chains across it so that when they would shake it, it would make, you know, that nice chain rattling noise. And it wasn't even until a couple of years ago that we even cut the door for it. Because we figured, you know what? It's a cool scare, but I want something more out of it. So we turned it into a door, which is why sometimes you'll see holes drilled into the panels. I can tell you that I myself only made 12 of these myself. The rest are all purchased from haunts that were going out of business or moving out of state, and they just didn't want to haul it with them. Like all of the drop panels, those I got from one haunter. Some of these cool effects, ones with holes and windows already cut in them, panels that turned into archways. However, almost all of the 3-footers I made, and then of course there's 1 foot left over. I thought it'd be a great idea to just keep using that. And honestly, they're not too bad, especially if you messed up the sizing and one side is too short for the other. You can throw these on. However, they're a bit of a pain to maintain. So we'll see if we reuse these. But here's another one of those long ones that I showed you where there's 1, 2, 3 panels in here. So this one is attached here, these two, and then I added this one afterwards, so it's just holding it all together. Again, same thing, there's a 3 up there and down here. Then we have some aesthetic additions, like I have 3 panels of this fake brick that I can use and leave on them. However, they're very affected by the weather. This is really bowed because somebody forgot to put a screw right there. This is the actor door that I made a long time ago because I was tired of having to go all the way around the haunt to the front. I mean, at the time, it was a very small haunt. It could only be as big as whatever I could fit in the 20 by 30 driveway that we had. So yeah, this would be in the back. So we wouldn't have to go all the way around to either the front or the back to sneak in while somebody needed a pee break or something. And the only other thing I've added to these are these archways where we just take a 4x8, cut it in half, and then cut an arch out of it. And they're really good for like the height and everything. Obviously, we've had to protect some noggins. There's a lot of tall people. Let's see, this is, I'm only 5'4", and this is, I'd say maybe 7 inches over my head. So it's also good for making people duck. I like that. whatever makes them feel uncomfortable is good for me. And over the years, we've done things like cut holes and things, but made sure that they were all sanded down, and then tried to keep it lasting as long as possible. So painted the entire inside, obviously, because you don't want the water to get in that and start spreading it out and making it crack and all that unfun things for the longevity of your panels. So I definitely applaud those who don't have to use the wood and everything, but we learned a long time ago that we need to use this because people just crash into them. And if I used anything thinner than this, yeah, the haunt would be down. It would just be wrecked. Ah, yes, and don't take this as how we do it. No, of course not. But right now, I was just testing the lights before I put them permanently as the ones that we were going to have in that location. But all of our wiring runs along the top. So all the lighting is set up in a way that the cords can go over the back and run along the side. Well, that is about all I can think of for the questions that I've seen people asking about how to put haunted houses together physically. So let me know if you have any other questions. I'll be happy to answer them. See you soon, ghouls.